So, in honor of this Valentine's Day, I want to talk about the heartthrob of the Marvel Universe. None other than Mortimer Toynbee, also known as Toad. Because, with a tongue like that, he can't be lonely. Or is he? Let's find out. Toad first appeared in Marvel Comics in X-Men issue number 4, which was released in 1964, and was created by the writer Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Toad was born in York, England, and was quickly abandoned by his parents and spent many years in an orphanage as a mutant, where he would constantly be tormented by other children due to his ugliness and strangely shaped body. He was considered to be mentally inferior due to his extreme shyness and mild learning disabilities during his primary school years. Though he was actually quite intelligent, he dropped out at an extremely early age and decided to fend for himself. Based on years of abuse and knowing full well he was a freak, Mortimer developed a severe inferiority complex, becoming servile to anyone that showed him the slightest bit of affection. Later, he was recruited into Magneto's team, also known as the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. As a member of the Brotherhood, Toad aided Magneto in repeated clashes with the X-Men, but when Magneto tried to use him to infiltrate the X-Men themselves, he was quickly recognized by his powers and he was sent away. At one point, Magneto and Toad were captured by this cosmic entity known as the Stranger, and as part of his collection, he encased both of them into cocoons. Once taken into a journey through space, Magneto managed to escape by repairing a spaceship, but left Toad behind. And when Magneto was recaptured by the Stranger a second time, he took Toad with him during his second escape. But by then, Toad's attitude towards his master, had already begun to change. Toad aided Magneto against X-Men once more, but realized that Magneto didn't care at all for him, and rebelled against him as well. Once he fled from Magneto's lair with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, sometime later Toad began to study the Stranger's technology, becoming familiar with it. He used the Stranger's alien technology to become a menace to the Avengers. He even attempted to kill the Angel inside of a castle outfitted with traps. However, instead, he ended up turning the castle into an amusement park and became its caretaker. Toad was eventually kicked out from the castle though by none other than the glorious Dr. Doom, and he became suicidal, realizing that he was so dependent on others that he could not work alone. By this point, he met Spider-Man, and him and Spider-Man actually became friends. And with this, he teamed up with Spider-Kid and Frogman as a superhero adventure team, also known as the Misfits. However though, Toad would still suffer from a constant depression, and eventually Toad would leave the Misfits and return to Villainy. He sought repeatedly to abduct the Scarlet Witch, and was always thwarted by Quicksilver and the Vision. But from here, he would form his own subversive version of the Brotherhood, his original team, along with Blob, Pyro, Fantasia, and Sauron. And as the Brotherhood now, they would battle multiple teams like the X-Force, X-Factor, and then sought out smaller heroes like Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, and Portal. Years later, still struggling with this depression, Toad was captured by Prosh, along with Juggernaut, Iceman, Jean Grey, and Mystique. As part of a time-hopping plan to stop a global threat, Toad learned that his deformed body was actually the result of experimentation by Juggernaut's father, Kurt Marco, at Alamogordo, New Mexico, which left Toad with an unstable genetic structure. The Stranger's equipment corrected his genetic flaws, resulting in an almost complete metamorphosis, where Toad had a taller and slimmer appearance, and his powers were augmented at the same time. Among the notable changes was his long tongue. Though his change improved his self-esteem, Toad continued to live a life without direction. He ended up joining several more incarnations of the Brotherhood of Mutants, none of them which lasted for long, but Toad made a brief reappearance on Genosha sometime after the island's annihilation, leading a team including Paralyzer and Unus, and tried to rebuild the statue of Magneto as a monument to them. For reasons unknown, Toad eventually returned to Magneto's side during the Planet X storyline. However, Toad was not as docile and subservient as he has been in the past, even openly questioning Magneto at times. Magneto in turn is tyrannical in his treatment of Toad, who would become his second in command. And from here, Toad has played a lot of small parts in storylines like Civil War and Dark Reign, and even at one point was a janitor working under Wolverine. But focusing on his powers, Toad's intellect and physical abilities have gone through some changes. Over the years, in the character's inception, he possessed superhuman leg strength and the ability to leap great distances due to that. But however, over the years, the Toad's original powers have increased and he's gained additional powers through further mutation, including adhesive saliva, the long tongue like I said before, and as a result of even further mutation from that, he now has molted green skin and pointed tip ears. Toad later gained a secondary mutation where he can light his tongue on fire as well. But other than that, guys, what do you think? You guys like Toad? I actually really like him as a villain because it's really hard to create a villain with more character depth, especially someone who's kind of in the background in most stories. And when you look at everything in the full picture, to me, it's pretty cool watching him grow like this. But I really do want to know what you guys think. Tell me in the comments down below. Other than that, if you guys like the stuff, make sure to subscribe and hit that alert button. Alright guys, I'll check you guys out in the next video. See ya!